And sometimes when we touch. Hello one, hello all, it is the most Dan Hill ghost of them all, Caspa in the flesh, and it's time for a review of Snooper! Super Snooper! Snooper is a art punk garage rock band, and this is their latest album. They caught my eye with one of their singles going into this, and when I heard them, I was like, I gotta hear the album. And when I put my ears to it, I noticed some similarities. I noticed some Devo. I noticed some Feelies. I noticed some Pylon. I noticed some Suburban Lawns. Definitely a lot of post-punk influences going into this, a lot of art punk influences going into this, and it definitely shows, and it's definitely carried well, in my opinion. And I would even say they're a little more wilder than their contemporaries. Not to take anything away from their contemporaries, because, you know. But they definitely bring a lot of guts here. It's definitely very refreshing to hear so much energy, so much punch, and so much rawness within the mix. And lyrically, the bars are out there in a great way. If you're looking for some cheeky lyrics, look no further, because they are here. Bedbugs. Feel you in the night and then I eat you. Feel you in the day and then I squish you. Dial up and connect. My mind will reset. Big shot. Big shot. I got one question. Who sees? Who sees? Society's infection. Hard to connect. Rumors infect. Privacy breach wants to pull your teeth. It's definitely that off-kilter, zany style that I definitely dig when it comes to art punk, when it comes to garage punk. I definitely love how off-kilter it sounds, but yet it's very much in sync with each other. It's very hard to describe, but the grooves are so unorthodox, but yet it works and contrasts well with the production going on, with the playing going on. There's definitely energy, and it's mostly within the playing that you get the visceral. It's mostly within the playing that you get the visceral feel. But when it comes to the vocals, I would say they are very much in your face. You know, they're kind of confrontational, but they're fun. They're very much just very energetic, very exuberant. There is a lot of cacophony here, and that can lead to Blair's vocals being buried in the mix. But I also do feel that adds to the rawness, that definitely adds to the feeling of what you hear is what you get. And while the vocals are fun, while these songs are fun, they could also be chaotic, they could also be chanty. It's very much like a very much raw art punky cheerleader practice. Or maybe cheerleader session being brought to you with very cheeky, but yet very clever commentary on societal ills. Or silly feelings regarding love, like where it sounds like Blair is committing a robbery on unable of this person's love. It's very cute, it's very clever, got a galloping groove to it, a lot of herky-jerky, punchy rhythms here. But I love how it transitions into this smooth, driving beat, then back to herky-jerky with these spiraling tones. The way the bass is, the way the beat is, very driving, very linear. It definitely feels like it's pulling from surf rock, and that is one thing you'll notice on this album. This album does have a lot of elements within it, like it's not just art punk, it's not just garage punk. They throw other elements in the mix, which we'll get into. And even though a lot of these tracks are short, even though this album is short, with this album being 14 tracks, 22 minutes, they pack a lot into this within a short duration of time. The song Pod probably has the most melodic guitar line on here. In a way that kind of reminds me of the Feelies, maybe a little bit of Television, but it definitely balances out with the punch and the revving riffs accompanied with it. And I also love the wailing psych breakdown at the midpoint. And also I love the pacing, how each track finds its way to transition to the other, be it the whistle on Fitness. And as I alluded to earlier, even though they are playing fast, they are playing heavy, they do find a way to balance out with Blair's vocals and be in sync with her rhythm. And I love the commentary on the moronic stigma that some guys going into the gym, getting roided up, trading their brains for brawn. Ooh, yeah! and developing a unhealthy obsession with fitness. And look, it's great to work out, very healthy, but along with that can come a very toxic and very problematic pattern within getting too involved with fitness, pretty much throwing away everything just to put your all into that, especially if you think that's the standard and what you're supposed to do and opposed to what you want to do. And I do love how these social criticisms are being pointed out in a cheeky way, in a fun way, and opposed to a preachy way, such as being addicted to gambling on the song Powerball, where they're just so addicted to gambling and they're throwing away and they're losing more than they're gaining. They're basically putting in a lot but getting nothing in return. They just keep investing and losing every time. When will they learn? Now, even though we do get a lot of sung vocals on here, well, I would say like melodic. I would say the most melodic is probably on the song Topic. Definitely has the most melodic hook on here. And probably the most trippiest moments on here with these echoed vocals just bouncing on and off into the atmosphere in the mix, which transitions perfectly into the song Spies, even though Spies isn't one of my favorite tracks on here. Also, the song Microbe is another highlight for me. I love how Blair is sharing her cheeky commentary on people who get really wrapped up in what they see in the media, becoming paranoid, and losing their mental health because of that, because of what they see in the media, and basically losing sight of in life's meaning and just trying to stay safe, trying to stay away from the chaos that this world has to offer. But also I do want to point out how I do love the unpredictability.
Okay. I found this on the web for her cheeky...
Stop. Also, I love how unpredictable and left field sonically this album could go. Like at the end of Microbe, where we get these twittering electronics and breakbeats, and for some reason, it complements the end of the track very nicely. Also, I love the herky-jerky, Devo-esque intro on the song Running, which is the final track, but the longest track on here, and probably the most heavy and most bassy on this album as well. That has the most build, definitely the most epic moments on here, which definitely makes sense with how the pacing has gone with this album, how we've gotten a lot of short tracks and how the last track is the longest one. So they definitely want to go out with a bang, and I love how unhinged and blaring the guitars could be at some points here. And I love like the little phaser synths going through the mix. As I said, it goes very Devo, and I love the subtle hand percussion that they worked in transitioning through the track with these epic guitar lines to finish off the album. There are a few weak tracks in the mix, I'll admit, such as the opener, but I do respect the cheekiness of it, where the mix is very buried, as I alluded to earlier, but it's noticed, and the guys in the studio with disbelief saying, "What the f-?" And I do dig the awareness, the artistic awareness that has been brought to this album as well. I think Fruit Fly is another low point for me. I wouldn't say it's bad, but it definitely fizzles out before the track even gets started. And don't get me wrong, there are short tracks on here, but I feel within this short track, it didn't really add much for me. But other than that, this album is friggin' fun. I love how zany it is. I love how clever the lyrics are. I love the wild playing, the quirky playing, the obtuse additions that are thrown in here. Perhaps we get some longer songs in the future that have more of a build to them, but still keep the zaniness, still keep it wild, still keep it fresh. But yeah, I'm definitely loving this album. Definitely loving it. And I'm feeling a 4 black hearts out of 5 on this. Yeah. But if you've given this album a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? And that's it. Caspa, Gothic Ghost, Snooper. Super Snooper. Till we meet again.